Hot dog. They are shined up and ready to go. Well, as good looking as they're gonna be. I think I need to rearrange some things in the shop because I don't think Harry would appreciate me dangling 1,200 pounds over his trip angler. These straps absolutely terrify me. Up we go. Oh boy. What's up, BRV crew? It is officially the new year and we've got a lot of exciting things to come here in 2026. A lot of great projects, but first and foremost, I have to thank all of you who have been following along on the channel over this past year, last couple months, even the last 5 years. This year will mark the official, I think, 6th year that I created this YouTube channel. I think I started it back in 2020. But it's been a long time coming. Wouldn't be here without all of you guys. So thank you very much. And here's to a very exciting and I believe content-packed full 2026 that's on our way. Specifically, one big event that I do want to mention to everybody before we get into today's video is the Lake of the Ozarks Shootout 2026 down at the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. It is the last weekend in August, and it's our plan to have 2 of our speedboats there at that event. We're going to do the poker run, which I believe is on Friday, and then we're going to spectate the actual shootout on Saturday. So if anyone does want to join us, meet up, we're going to be talking about this event throughout the whole year till we get there. You know, we're going to road trip a couple boats out there, but we'd love to see some of you guys out on the water. And I think there may even be some shootout or boating events in Maryland in 2026 that we'll be at. And again, we'd love for you guys to show up, come join us on your boats, and just hang out and have a good time, talk about engines, boats, motors, all the things we're doing right, wrong, and indifferent. But it would be great to see you guys out on the water this summer. So lots more of event planning to come. I'll be sure to mention them and talk to you guys about them as the year moves on. But yeah, so here we are, 2026, and literally the first thing that showed up on my doorstep were a new set of manifolds and risers for these big block Chevys. So I'm not going to go too crazy. We'll throw these guys on real quick. If you do remember, these are the 7.4 liter Gen 6 big block Chevys. They were PCMs. They came out of the 1985 formula that's over here. I threw on all of the MPI Mercruiser Magnum parts and accessories. So we're going to find out how that works on these old PCM heads and blocks. But right now, we got to get these exhaust manifolds on. I've got a couple things they're going to bolt up to the risers when they are on, so there won't be any more danglies. So like this ECU box and wiring harness here will bolt to the side of it, and then our remote oil filter reservoir will bolt on the front of that riser. So we'll get these done real quick, and then my goal is within the first week of 2026 here, get these engines into the 1985 Formula 302 SR1. And just before we get into the action here, I do need to mention we did just revamp and update our merchandise store. So if you go to shop on YouTube or go to our website, boatrevivalbyben.com, and click on the store or shop portion of it, it'll take you to all of our merchandise. And we've got a new lineup of gear, a couple new graphic tees, sweatshirts, long sleeves for some of the projects that we've been working on, and some new hats, some new embroidered logoed stuff, stickers, you name it. All that's on our website. But got to get this 1968 Correct Craft finished up here in the next couple months. The 1965 Boston Whaler. Harry's boat will be in here for a little bit for winter storage, but it's probably going to go back to the water in February or March. And then, of course, the 1957 Chris Craft Corsair all wooden boat. That's a big project for us. We're going to start tearing into it and get it moving along here in the new year. So, lots going on in the shop. Thankfully, it's about 40 degrees today. I look way too bundled up right now, but I can at least move my hands and install these manifolds. I don't love that I'm about to easily add 150 pounds to each of these engines, but for this case, we're going with the old cast water-cooled manifolds. Nothing fancy. So let's pop those on real quick and talk about next steps for these big block Chevys that are going to go into the formula. All right, we got the aftermarket special here. I'll leave the link to these manifolds and risers. I'm not making money off of these things, but just saying, these are the, I guess, basically Sierra cast knockoffs. And first impressions, honestly, they look really nice. They came with all the studs and parts and pieces we need for the block, which is good. I don't mind studding these. We got our little coolant water pickup for the bottom. We got our wet exhausts. I believe these are gonna get capped. Yes. Yeah, these ports here will get capped. We're not using those. We're just using the inner passages. And yeah, here's that lower water tube that'll hook up to them. So again, nothing fancy dancy here, but this is what we got. 2 sets of these cast water-cooled exhaust manifolds. So we'll get the studs in the block and then get the bottom part mated up. These are just Siamese exhaust manifolds, so one's gonna sit further forward than the other when you flip these things around, and that's okay. The boat's already set up for that. Just want to say, you know, that's the way that these things go. So you can't put them on the wrong way. And again, just as a reminder, let me walk over here to our scrap bin and just show you what came off of these motors. So the OE Chris Craft had these Mamba Jambas, exact same manifolds, all the plugs in the bottom with the 4-inch riser. I don't need those for this boat. The PCMs, boy, can we look at a set? Maybe. Got camshafts and all sorts of stuff in the way. The PCMs are down there. Those are those old slick manifolds. A little different style. But again, no risers needed for my boat here. I may need some extensions though, just looking at how these PCMs are set up. I'm definitely going to need some, you know, rubber pipe extensions to get to the back of where those PCMs originally kicked out. But that's what we're dealing with here. Simple exhaust manifolds, and I didn't want to reuse the old PCM ones because they had been sitting forever. They're wonky looking. They would have worked with the Mercruiser stuff on these engines, but they were full of acorns and mouse nests. So when in doubt, be safe and just get new risers and manifolds. not gonna lie, I really like the way they did these studs. They were really easy to install, threaded right in, so coarse thread into the block, and then fine thread for the studs with a lock washer. And I use Tef gel on everything, so if I ever have to pull it out again, there's no issues. But I'm gonna look up the torque spec for these real quick, torque these down, but I like the way those went together. That is mucho better. Now I'll take Tef gel, where'd they go? These plugs, put these plugs in here, and then I'll take my open gasket with the holes in the side, and that'll go right here. Yeah, they sent me a couple sets of them, which is nice. I guess in case you just buy the riser part, but never hurts to have spares. So I'll pick the nicer ones out of the couple that came with it, but that works. Okay, 10 out of 10 for install. I like what I see here. Everything threaded in nicely. Use some Tef gel or some assembly goob, whatever you guys want. It's just makes it so much better for putting it on and then taking these off in 5 years when you got to put some new ones on. But I torqued everything to 25 foot-pounds is what the internet was saying. And tell you what, I'm happy. Now it's time to do 3 more. I won't bore you guys with that. Oh, and this is where I was talking about. The PCMs, like they came out to like back here. So I'm gonna need like a, I don't know, a foot extra of exhaust hose, 4-inch exhaust hose out the back of the boat, but that's not a big deal. Just so we're being transparent, I did go ahead and get brand new coils for both motors. So those bad boys mount up right here, and then we got our connectors, and then our connector goes to our handy dandy distributor to make them high energy ignition distributors. But you know, I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I do save my old ones. I'm not sure if they'll ever come in handy again. I'm sure they will, but those are those guys. I saw a little bit of rust. I was like, you know what, they're only 30 bucks from China. You might as well replace them. So we'll pop those guys on too while we're doing all this work before they go up inside the boat. I finally did get a few more parts I was waiting on, which includes, you know, all the nitpicky stuff. Of course, you got to have 1.2 millimeter welding, MIG welding line. So here you go. Yep. My ultra black gasket maker for sealing up those intake manifolds properly this go around. So, and then our special 7-inch long riser bolts so I can fit my remote oil filter relocation thingy-mabobber right here. The 6-inch bolts or 5.5-inch bolts are not long enough, so I got some 7-inch. So that'll correct this issue that's going on right here and mount everything per how Mercruiser wanted it with all these accessories. So again, good stuff. And you know, of course, I'm getting lost lately these days, so I got a topographical map of Maryland and Delaware. Just kidding, that's a gift for a relative. Okay, let's slap this stuff on. I wasn't gonna put these motors back in without all new ignition components, so just so you guys know. Last thing I've ordered is the new spark plug wires. which I'm sure wherever the heck they went, the old ones were oh, I threw them away. That's what I did. But all new ignition. I mean, you might as well. We put new Chinese injectors in them, so they surely deserve new Chinese spark plug wires. But look at that. Nice and new and shiny. For the very small percentage of you that are watching this video and may have this same problem, these are 7-inch long, 3/8 inch thick, with 1 inch or 16 threads per 1 inch pitch. So there you go. Pretty standard bolt when it comes to these motors, but instead of the 5.5, there's 7. So you can fit your remote oil reservoir, remote oil filter housing. I keep saying that wrong. Anyway, problem solved. 25 foot-pounds. Here you go. Okay, get all these 9/16 intake manifold bolts torqued down, 35 foot-pounds in a cross pattern, and then step it up 15, 20, and then 35, or 15, 25, 35, whatever you want. And yes, I've gooped the heck out of my ends on both ends of the intake manifold, as well as the corners. There's also a rubber gasket in there that's perfect form fitting as well. So if you guys remember, these are peanut port big block heads, Gen 6 blocks, Gen 6 cranks, 4-bolt mains, forged pistons, forged crank. But I put these Mercruiser 088, Ram style air intakes on here, which have a much bigger intake runner than the actual peanut port of the head. A lot of guys are concerned about that. There's also a EGR exhaust thing here that I've blocked off because I bought special rubber metal not head gaskets, but intake manifold gaskets that run along the side. So I bought really nice gaskets so these things don't leak, but I also gooped them like crazy so we don't end up with any problems as well. So there we go, 35 foot-pounds. Time to put the sparkulators back in their holes. Everything should still be timed right, but I'll check it again. They're sitting at top dead center, and then we can put our jankily painted red intake manifold caps, throttle bodies back on top and reconnect everything. $15 foot-pounds for those bad Larrys. And I think that's a, oh man, I just put it back. I think it's a T30. Yep, T30 Torx. So, boom. intake manifolds, throttle bodies are back on. Got everything hooked back up. Got all of our vacuum lines hooked back up. I'm not sure where this side's PCV hose goes to. This valve cover, it goes right here. But on this one, I don't know. I'm not sure if I had one before or not. And I searched the throttle bodies and intake manifolds high and low and couldn't find anything. So maybe we just capped that off. We'll see. Oh, you know what? I think it adapts and goes to this vacuum hose. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Okay, I found it. It's kind of a crappy picture, but anyway, that guy is supposed to go to your air filter, but this one doesn't have it, so that's just gonna get capped and plugged. I did find, however, where this doobie goes, and it actually routes this guy right here. This is our little vacuum hose. Routes down, and I gotta grab an extension, but there's a little bung down here. See my finger? There's a little bung that goes to our Mercruiser cool fuel module. You can see it on this side. This guy right here. That guy gets hooked up to this guy. So there we go. Hot dog. They are shined up and ready to go. Well, as good looking as they're gonna be. Hey, by the way, that vacuum hose for the cool fuel, I ran it forward here like it's supposed to, and then straight down to the unit right in there. So everything is proper. Okay, this is the port engine. Why is that important? Well, for starters, just to be clear here, both these engines rotate the exact same way, and I did misspeak in another video. The transmissions do spin the same direction. It's the drives that are counter-rotating. So there is a counter-rotating drive. But anyway, this is the port engine. Why is that important? Well, it does not have power steering on it. So I need to install first, for my sake, so I have room in there, the starboard engine first. So here's our power steering pump. We got our longer belt, and then our power steering hoses that go back to our different heat exchanger. That's our cooler for power steering. And then we got our hookups right here, and you'll see it in the boat what I'm talking about. But this engine's gonna go first. We're gonna get them up on our gantry hoist here. I'm gonna hook up our remote oil fitting thingy on the bottom that I can't get to right now because it's on the stand. And then I think I need to rearrange some things in the shop because I don't think Harry would appreciate me dangling 1,200 pounds over his trip angler. Okay, we are in position, and these things haven't gone off the ground in quite a while. I know obviously the hoist can handle this weight, but these straps absolutely terrify me. I hate that, and I'm sorry the chains have to touch. I know it's putting pressure on it, but if I do it any different way or let that be longer, I'm not going to get the engine over the hump here. And this thing's already up at its, I think it's at its 12-foot or 13-foot setting. Or no, yeah, 12-foot setting. So anyway, up we go. Oh boy. Okay, those were butt pucker moments. it's now subtly to the point where it's at hole poking height in the hull, or for the hull. But oh man, okay, this is a one-man show here today too. I still would like to get another foot lower, but I do need to move it backwards, and I need to hook up or tighten my oil reservoir here. So I'm gonna come down probably a touch more. I keep saying reservoir, my freaking oil remote connection. So okay, we can breathe. We're breathing. Again, clutch is this removable seat. Gives me, look at this space it gives me up forward here to allow me to slide this thing in there. I'm gonna fully rig this engine up before I even think about installing the second one to make my life that much easier on the first, FYI. Whew, I'm shaky. Okay, I'm getting all my hardware ready. So these are the bolts that bolt in the engine mounts here. I'll Tef gel everything, so it's nice and easy, but I got 8 of those. I got a variety of rings, and then just a couple important things here, because I don't think many people ever mention this. You can look it up, and I just had to look it up, but these transmission mount bolts, especially with the TRSs, they didn't change a whole lot when they went to the Bravos and the Alpha hookups. Well, the Alpha already existed, but here. So actually, let me lay out one of these bolts for you. I already got these on the starboard engine done correctly. So we have a bolt, a washer, a really big spring washer, and then our little piece of like felt, you know, or whatever. It's some sort of fiber material that goes there. So that's up top. In the middle here on mine specifically, my little nub that's on the transmission sticks out a touch. So there's actually these really big, wide washers that are gonna rest here in between the transom mount and the transmission. So you gotta make sure you get those in there if specifically you're doing what I'm doing. And then underneath is just a single nut on the bottom down there. So I'll show you on this bolt here. When it's in the boat, it's gonna look a little bit like something like that. And it's always nice to have your hoist still attached, so you can pick this thing up and set it down and wiggle it around if you need to get all your bolts lined up properly, and then set it and rest it in its home resting spot. For the record, if I ever watch this video years down the road where I have to pull this motor out, I had to do one of those side cuddles to the engine, and by cuddles I mean sharp edges and fiberglass and metals were all jabbing into my side, but my legs were this way, my body was this way, and I was able to get, well, I'm not even going to show you because I don't want to go back down there, but the 2 bolts that go into the engine mount on that side, just like this one here. You can't see. Anyway, that's done. Next interesting part is, because you weren't here originally, well, your bottom end was, but your Mercruiser parts weren't here before, figuring out how everything mates up. So I got this adapter plug, which lets my 8-pen go into my, I think, 9 or 10 pen. That's a Mercruiser plug. And I really should bend that back now that that's not under load. But we've got these 2 brown wires where it appears that these 2 want to be mated together, so we'll do that. This orange wire here should go to our battery, our positive there for the starter. This, I think I'm gonna hook up to, well, I don't know, because it appears it's coming out of the plug and not going into it. And I already got one on my harness on the engine. Yeah, I may need to hook this up. I definitely need to hook this up to the orange over there. So there's that. We got our positive that goes on the back of the starter there. Our negatives off over here in the abyss, and that's going to go down to our battery. But some genius, you know, that battery's over there, which is okay. Some genius decided that the starboard engine battery needs to go behind that exhaust manifold. And the only way that I foresee that occurring is lots of strength and going through here, around, avoiding my bilge pump hose and other wires, and then somehow using magic to counteract gravity and let that thing fall nicely in its space down there. Wish I would have known that before I put the motor in, because I would have put a battery in there and not hooked it up. But it looks like that's my next step, is going to get a couple batteries, so I can do that before there's 1,200 pounds of iron and aluminum in the way. And then, of course, as I said, because we're putting this one in first, our power steering pump hookups back here. So these Larrys just go right back there in their original fittings. I transfer those over from the old motors, and then somehow figuring out how these new gaff rig shifter cables, lengthwise, I gotta probably pull some back through the hull, and then remind myself which ones are shift and throttle, but pull these back, and one of them hooks up down there by my transmission shifter, and then the other one's gonna run up right up here where my throttle goes. So I'm not gonna get that done today, but I did start just so I'm able to give myself some peace of mind that I know where everything's going. And honorable mention, front engine strap for this starboard motor. You, sir, did a great job. I'm really proud of you. I'm so glad you didn't break. And you know, when I pull this motor out in the future, I'm just know I'm thinking of you. That's all. Well, it turns out Amazon will send you 10.5 millimeter thick red spark plug wires in less than 12 hours if you want them. I splurged and bought whatever Amazon recommended. JDM Speed. These things actually look legit, but they're made in my favorite place. So we'll get those thrown on. This is not a coil ignition. It does have a distributor, so I'm gonna have to get the firing order correct on this bad girl when I hook it up. So, and then here's my coil. Obviously, it's an HEI, so we got our little jumper wire that goes from here to here, and then our 8 plug wires. So I'll throw it on time lapse with the firing order, but it's the big block Chevy. So these things are pretty easy to find diagrams on the internet of how to do your numbering. But it's most important to remember, and I marked it, but this is number 1. So number 1 points to number 1 up there, and I already did the timing based on the engine builder, but we are at I think 10 degrees advanced. I can't remember. That could be wrong, so I'm sorry, internet, if that is incorrect, but I'm just going off of how they put this engine together. Gonna need a new one of those. Didn't realize that. Whoops.
here you go. Easy enough. We got an HEI distributor. So 1 is up here. Whoops. Then 8. Then 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2 in a clockwise rotation. So based on our distributor, this way. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. One more time. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. 1, 3, 5, 7 are on the left side. And then 2, 4, 6, and 8 are on the right side. FYI. Okay, 1, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 7, 2. 2 is the longest spark plug wire that I had. Had to swap it with 1. I got that wrong at first, but got that all the way around. 1 is the second longest there, and there's a bunch that are the same length, and there's like 1, I think 7 or 8 that are the shortest. But anyway, worked out pretty good. It looks good. The red on black is pretty sexy. And I really wish I would have done this on the other engine before I put it in the boat, but now I got to do that one in the boat. Oh well. Man, it's a cold one today, guys, but that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think I got it all right. Again, I double checked it, but 1 going this way, 8 going that way, 4 going that way, 3 going this way, 6 going that way, 5 going this way, 7 going this way, 2 going that way. So there we go. And then of course this is number 1. This distributor is actually cocked a little bit because when I had the cap off, that's where the rotor wanted to be. In regards to this motor and where its timing is set. So, and I believe, was this one rebuilt? No, that one was rebuilt due to a low compression cylinder. So that's a rebuilt motor. This one is what it is, but it's in good shape as is. So boom, there we go. That's hooked up. Now let's finish those miscellaneous hookup items I was talking about. And now is probably a good time to remove my pain in the butt old oil reservoir that I should have done a long time ago. Alright, what you're seeing me shimmy around this whole engine bay to do is get these shifter cables just right. So I've got, since I have the Gaff Rig Performance shifters, which separates the throttles
from the shifter mechanisms up there. So we got shifters on the right, throttles on the left. I know mine are backwards. I'm gonna leave it for now and see if I like it. If I don't, I'll flip-flop them. But anyway, for this starboard motor, all these shift cables are the same length. They're 22 feet. I didn't want any shorter because I needed that run to get to the port engine here. But the starboard one, they're a little long. So I'm having to figure out how I can use my space and the side of the boat there to the best of my ability to keep from that shift cable being stiffed. Same with the throttle. So I just got my shift cable buttoned up and on there. And I had to buy, since my cables just came like this, I had to buy the gaff rig adapter pieces, the 33C cables for stern drives. So basically, the picture shows it nicely there, but we put our black adapter for the post, the fixed post at the base of it. We've got a little brass piece that holds that there. You get about a ½ inch of adjustment in that, and then on the end you have this screw-on red piece, which is what actually goes to the either throttle that moves or the shifter that moves. And then there's a little retainer nut on the end that you can tighten. This is that space back here where the brass clip goes and that black piece can slide back and forth. And then of course our end. And what you see, this rubber piece here, is just a dust cover for the shifter portion that moves. So I'm getting those adapter kits on the shifters and the throttle cables, and then I'm pushing and pulling these hard cables into place so I get them right. So we got the shifter all set up for that one there. So it's a velvet drive, so we have this fancy dancy mechanism down here that I can actually, if you give me a second, I can move it by hand. So let's see, there's forward, and then if I pull it back, neutral, and then reverse, and then back to neutral. I think that needs some more adjustment in my run here. It's still a little tough for my liking. We'll see how the port one comes out. But if we come over here, let me show you my throttle real quick without stepping on things. I've got this fixed post down here, so that's where the black piece will attach to with our spacer. I believe it goes below. And then underneath, hopefully you guys can see, is my throttle linkage down here. So that's what the base of the red piece of the cable will attach to. So just a little finicky. I need to pull this cable through the boat more, because this thing, I don't need all that extra stuff back there. But for right now, we're gonna get things set, and then I'll pull it back through the boat so it can go down there. Well, here's the current problem we're trying to solve. So my shifters obviously start from the bottom and move upward for their full stroke. However, you'll notice on my my throttle mechanism, when you move it forward, it actually pushes the cable out right now. And I need, for these big blocks with the spring-mounted throttle bodies, for it to pull inward instead of push outward. So I need to pull that throttle body open instead of pushing it. So I think what I have to do is pull this out of here real quick. I might need 2 hands without destroying it. Yeah, let me use 2 hands here. Stand by. So yeah, right now they are fixated forward. I believe what I need to do is switch them around to the back side. Yep, they need to go on the back side. So I'm going to flip these from forward up here to the back side down here.
And that should give me my pulling instead of pushing. All right, apologies for that delay, but basically that's the first time I've ever had to rebuild some gaff rig shifters. And again, I know it's a sin. I just did it right on top of my seat, and I'm so sorry, guys. I'll clean all that up. But in the process of fixing my shift levers, I noticed one of them was off, and then replacing or shifting my shift levers as well, so they pull now instead of push. I flopped them, so I put my shifters on the inside and my throttles on the outside. So if I did this correctly, let me get it in the hole real quick. All right, if I did this properly, we should be pulling with these. So if I pull them forward, yep, we're pulling in, and then our shifters should be, let's see, pulling and forward. So, yep, pull, and then pushing in reverse. There we go. Nice. Did not expect to rebuild these, but there you have it. I need to pull some cables through now because they're a little bound up. But nice. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let me get this all secured back down. One really important thing that I haven't done yet, and that is engine alignment. I have not even touched the transmission big bolts, these guys that we were looking at earlier, or these front little mount bolts, and that is because I want to make sure that the input shaft is perfectly aligned for the stern drive. So everything else here is buttoned up. Shifters are good to go. My little fix worked for everything. Everything's mounted nicely, exactly where it's supposed to be. And dare I say, I'm ready for the second motor, which is awesome. But let me show you guys this real quick. I gotta do my shimmy to get up and out of the boat here. By the way, I hit this with a little spray 9. Those seats are gonna clean up very nicely. But here, come take a look. So here's the business end, and I've already put our shaft in for you guys. So what we have here, and don't mind my twine holding up my rams here, but here is that alignment tool. And let me pull it out real quick. It's pretty long. You see my splines there perfectly with grease on them. That's what we want to see. And then I got a couple steps here. Right here is my gimbal bearing. So if you look, let me bring you around. Inside there you can see a little bit of light around the top of the exit shaft on the transmission. So just by eyeing this, I would think that the transmission needs to go up just a touch. But when I put my input shaft in, and I'm gonna replace this gasket, I got new ones. When I put my alignment tool in, excuse me, this guy, let's see if I can film all this, goes straight into the gimbal, steps up, into our input shaft, steps up with our splines, and then boom. It is perfectly in there. I'm bottomed out. And if we come look, again, let's get our twine out of the way. I got the steering perfectly straight. I'm not sure I could put that thing up, down, left or right any better than it is to receive the stern drive. So this drive, I'm really happy with how it's aligned, how that spins over, everything there. Then we got our O-ring, it's gonna go here. I got some new ones, of course, but before you tighten anything, you definitely wanna make sure you get you one of those alignment tools and make sure that thing's pretty much spot on. I think you really only have like a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch of forgiveness either way. And here I can show you without an engine or drive in it, that's what that looks like. So, you know, it goes through our transom, which is about 4 inches thick on this boat, 3 inches thick. And then our bellows, which are in good shape here. And of course, that's all you got. Okay, I think it's time to hoist the second engine. Come here. There we go. Time to get my feet out of the way. Keeps wanting to swing sideways. All right. It's gonna be tight like a tiger here. Excuse me, you need to go. Oh! Backwards a little bit. Oh yeah. Look at this, guys. Ah! That's my clearance on my exhaust manifolds. This is my clearance over on this side. I literally got to get below that brass plug and then I can shift the engine over. There you go. The distance that it wants to go. Holy heck. That is the definition of a tight fit. Good thing I don't want to get to anything between the engines, right? Right. That, look, so I had to get it below this lip here for the whole thing to shift over. Now we got all the room in the world between them. I need to come back this way a little bit, but yeah. There's a procedure to this madness. I had to put this thing in angled to get over through this inlet here just to get it to go past that exhaust manifold there. Okay, a couple more inches and she's literally falling right into place, which is wonderful. I do need to get my, where'd they go? Big washers underneath back there in their 2 spots like I was showing you before with those big lag bolts, and then I can drop those in. So I'm gonna go lay on my belly and get those washers in place. Boom! That's 2 motors in the hole. Done. Done. Don't mind my overspray on the red. Harry, they're looking some kind of way in here.
Deadpool?
It just makes you happy.
Deadpool engines.
Deadpool engines. There's so much red and black on this boat. Red and black.
You know what you're missing on your engines there, though?
And black. What?
Flames.
Well, I could buy some flames stickers.
You need flame stickers.
Yeah.
Same thing as the other engine. Nothing fancy here, guys. I did the starboard engine first because that was the power stream one. I knew I had more things to hook up and figure out, and that one's all hooked up. So I did all that before I got the second one in here, and surely glad I did, because thank God the seat is the way it is. I would not have been able to do all this without this seat moving.
We'd have another Chris Craft going on.
Yeah, no kidding. So, yeah, same thing as the other motor. Unfortunately, I'm gonna make you wait till the next video to hear this thing fire up. It's got really old gasoline in it, and I probably should pump some of that out before I do that, but I'm probably not going to.
You should do that.
I probably should do that.
You should do that.
I was gonna say top it off with some good fuel, but I'm not gonna do
It's
that.
below a quarter tank.
Yeah, that's fair. But
My 93 Mercedes ran on gas from 2004.
well, there
No
you
problem.
go.
That's a Pinky's outcome.
Well, I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you guys for watching. This is a 1985 Formula 302 SR1 with 1999. Well, stand by. Frankenstein 96 Gen 6 big blocks, 454 big blocks with 99 Mercruiser accessories, intakes, ignitions, spark systems, all that, and then brand new exhaust manifolds. So bring a little modern 25-year-old tech to this 40-year-old boat. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. Thank you guys for watching. This is Boat Revival by Ben. Hope you enjoy the Formula Speedboat content, and we'll see you in the next video where we fire this bad girl up and hopefully make good sounds and not horrible engine sounds. Worst case, these motors are 180 degrees out. Fingers crossed.